Well, hey there, and welcome to our NSA Houston podcast. Welcome to another edition of Presidents Uniting so that together we rise. And I think you'll really enjoy our guest today, all about change management and what he represents and leads in the state of Texas. So, Jared, come on up. Introduce yourself if you wouldn't mind. Tell us about what your role is with ACMP.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you for having me, Megan. And thank you, NSA, for having me. Jared Morgan, president of ACMP Texas chapter. ACMP stands for Association of Change Management Professionals. And I've been on the board, I think going on about 5 years now. Started out as technology director and moved to president. And been president for the last year and a half. So, happy to be here. Happy to talk all things change or whatever definitely comes of mind.
Yeah, definitely. And I know I met you in person at one of the most recent NSA, well, not NSA, it was the joint happy hour with every group there, right? It was at the Heights Beer Garden.
Absolutely. Have fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was about six of us, right? ATD was there as well.
Hmm.
But yeah, no, thoroughly enjoyed it. I think um, the more we interact, people realize how many different ways that we play in the same sandbox of influencing healthy organizations, right? Or encouraging organizations to get healthy. And so that's important. And so I love the work that we do together. And I think it's fruitful for all of our membership.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. For those that are listening that want to learn more about change management, what kind of roles or that you might see in that type of work?
Yeah, so I mean, sometimes you can get as traditional as really seeing change management or organizational change manager. Sometimes you might see this role referred to as transformation or design or development. So there's a lot of different ways in which organization approach how they move or navigate toward change, whether it's external, internal forces. There's just so many ways in which um, they pivot. And so over time, there's been a lot of science that's been applied to transformation and how organizations do it. Ones that do it well and thrive, and the ones that don't do it so well. And within that has developed our discipline. And so if you're looking for more information, right, you can definitely hit up our website, www.acmptexas.org, or our global parent organization, www.acmpglobal.org. And so there's tons of information from the most beginning level to intermediary to expert. I just believe that, everyone who has had a job has experienced change. Anyone that's living, right? You've experienced change on some level. So what sounds like maybe a foreign concept in terminology, I beg of you to check that information out, and you'll find that a lot of what goes on in the industry and our discipline, you've experienced or felt or led even.
Yeah, definitely. I know I must admit I didn't know about change management as a thing until like 10 years into training and development
Mm,
equals change. So I never
mm.
understood why we kept hitting roadblocks so hard. But then it all clicked. So
Yeah, yeah, no. Training and development is definitely under majority of our wheelhouses, and so there are people who I think focus on more of the delivery of ATD or training and development, whereas we might be thinking more along the stakeholder impact or the impact of people, which is a little different, right, in terms of what's happening. And so both disciplines definitely play in the same sandbox and they hold each other's roles. But for the most part, yeah, it's definitely change management, training and development for sure.
yeah, I love how it plays, like you said, play in the same sandbox. And this year,
Mhm.
as you know, we've chatted about NSA Houston and how our vision for this year is anyone who is a speaker that's shaping the world with a spoken word. So trainers speak, they shape the world. They're speakers, coaches are speaking to help coach. And then also for change management, y'all have to make presentations and influence change in a certain rate and a certain process. Any thoughts on what would you encourage someone who might want to learn more about change management? Where should they start besides looking up the logo or the websites and everything? Any certifications involved or best steps like joining a meeting?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the first step would be to visit our websites and see what free content is available to you, both from a self-serve perspective or watching any recordings that are available to the general public. And then also too, we have certification through ACMP, and we also have a change management certification through the project management framework, ProSci. And so I would say those are two of the main leading ones. I would say also organizations tend to want to brand their own version of change in this idea of fit for purpose world that we live in. So you even might find it internal at your organizations. And so I would definitely inquire when you're talking about a change hub or best practices. Those are some of the places that you find change management or organizational change managers. And so I think those are really good ways to start. ProSci also has a website, which I'm sure, hopefully some of your listeners are familiar with. But if I can make that available to people, I would love to. But yeah, we have templates on both websites, on both organizations. We work together to improve our industry and our standards. And so there's different ways to look at it. I would say ProSci looks at change management from a little bit more of a project delivery standpoint, and ACMP looks at it more holistically. And so within that, I think there's nuggets for everyone. I've yet to have people explore change management resources and not find them helpful in their everyday job.
Oh yeah, I could see that
Mhm.
for sure, especially templates. I'm a girl that loves templates.
Same, I am guilty of that. I am
Uh,
very guilty of
Well, with so much going on and so much
that.
reach into really change is always happening. It's a matter of how much an organization wants to commit to it, bring it in, or prep before it actually happens. You must have a strategy for your chapter, for your group, for ACMP Texas. Would you mind sharing a little bit with us about what that strategy is or your vision?
Strategy or vision, short term or long term?
Yes.
Both. When given options, it's the all of them. It's deep. Yeah, so I would say short term is that we're having to navigate this complex world that we're now in and how people show up to work. And that's first and foremost. So coming out of COVID, there's been a lot of virtual working, and that's also extended into the professional resources and offerings that we have in our different organizations. And so we're still navigating that wheel. We have started to go back in person. We've had probably a total of maybe 7 events since coming out of 2022. So we trying to socialize and normalize that work because it's been beneficial to people. There's nothing like people who connect, and that's pretty much the bread maker of our industry. But we have gotten better at virtual offerings as well. And so it's finding that sweet spot, and then also working across the aisle with other organizations where we touch a lot of what we do each other in terms of how we show up at an organization. And so that's been important for us as well. But I would say probably something I would flagpole for my legacy within the organization. I think a lot of times change management finds its best allies in change management, and that's kind of easy. You don't have to do a whole lot of explanation on why something exists or why you do it. I want to challenge that a little bit. I want to bring in CFOs, COOs, different people from different branches of an organization that don't necessarily interact with our framework or templates on a day-to-day basis, but they still deal with changes and transformation. And being able to solve those issues could make us, the one-stop shop for anything transformation. And that's ultimately what I see for my industry, how our organization plays in that industry, and how I'd like to see us show up even more for different industries within Texas and Houston. So yeah, I think that's a way of, I guess, collaging, trying to make sure that we are seeming important to everyone, which I'm sure is the argument or the goal of any organization. But I do think we see a path forward in which we can do that. And I think it's about bringing in people who aren't necessarily familiar with change management to be more introduced to our solutioning.
Yeah, the bigger picture. I think you and I have chatted about
Absolutely.
that quite a bit about the energy and the vibrations that come from that. And I love that collaging, not collaboration, collaging. Because sometimes you use glue, sand, magazine clippings. It's all different things that are building this cool vision.
Absolutely. And you kind of gave it more of a sinister finger touch, so I'm not too sure.
Oh, really?
Collaging may have sounded more like confusion. No, I'm just kidding. Just teasing.
No, no. Like as an artist creating this
Oh
cool
yeah,
art
no, for sure.
piece.
No, no, for sure. And that's everybody's got when you look at it that way, right? You appreciate the bigger picture more and everyone's part in it, right? The picture can't be without everyone's input. And so you appreciate that more, you value it more. And I think you putting yourself in other people's shoes always counts.
Yeah, and I think too, we've talked about how NSA and ATD, ICF, ACMP, and HODN, all the orgs that are working together very closely
Mhm.
for some work this year. We all have the different, if you're relating it to a collage, they're all different pieces to the puzzle, because
Absolutely.
that's the cool part about it is NSA speaking and business or coaches coming in. Everybody's got their different thing. They're made of different stuff, but we're all well, there's a lot of synergy, a lot of overlap in that sandbox.
Absolutely. And I think especially leaders are happy to experience those levels of resources that we do have. Because a lot of them have to keep their eye on so many metrics, KPIs to make snap and long-term decisions. When is there time for self-reflection? And that's such a, I guess a taboo word from people who were so constantly used to going. But it's transformed organizations. Firsthand, I've seen it. So I just know the benefit that we bring in the way that we're forced to kind of carry our cap or our thinking cap. It's definitely different when we enter rooms because we think about things that, frankly, they're not necessarily the traditional P&L hitters, right? But they make so much of a difference and show up in so many different ways within a P&L. So, yeah, no, I'm a huge advocate, and I think you're spot on.
I love the way you said transform because I see coaches transforming, I see speakers
Mhm,
transforming. That's just a synergy of how they're making an impact. Well, I
mhm.
love it. Lots of great. I'm excited to see what we do with your organization and our group of all the joint ones that are working together. And if you're listening and you want to join NSA Houston or ACMP Texas or Global, reach out to us. There's so much opportunity for you to get involved and build either your business or your career because that's why these groups are really collecting because people are already in a lot of them and now we're opening the doors for more opportunity, more connections, and more ways to really build the career that you're wanting and it could help if you're in corporate or on your own doing consulting or in another direction. So definitely check out some options for you. Let us know how we can best help. Well, Jared, my last question for you is a little bit of a personal twist, something kind of fun. What would
Mhm.
you say is a hidden talent that you have?
So I push that question back onto you, Megan. Define hidden. What is hidden?
Ooh, okay.
Because
Let's
it
change it
sounds like
to
no one knows. Like, is that a talent that it's self-reflection? So yeah, of course, I got so many talents singing, right? Like, but no, I don't. I know that that's not a talent.
Okay, how about something? How about just move it to a talent? What's a talent that you have that's not ACMP related? Nothing we've talked about today. Something different.
Okay, so I'm gonna give two because one I think is gonna be confusing. So the first one I'll lead off with is chess. I love chess a lot. I try to apply some of the patience that I have clearly in chess and not in life. But just the value of being strategic. The more consideration, especially in upfront. So now I'm gonna make a plug for change management. The more you bring change management in the very beginning, um, that work that's done up front, it makes it easy street toward the end or on the back end. And that's something that I constantly preach. Second one, I would say, I kind of remember my first memory. I know
Really?
that sounds weird. Yeah.
No, I like
Where
it.
where I was standing, and how old I was. I was 4. And I remember that day, the next day, the next day, the next, and I just remember remembering that. Yeah.
That's really cool.
So I'm glad you think so. I have definitely tried it at dinner parties, and it doesn't really land well. It starts conversations about other things, but yeah, it doesn't really land. So
Well,
yeah, whatever that's worth, I remember my first memory.
I think it's interesting how our brains
Hmm.
do their thing, and what you remember, I think, is I can't remember what happened when I was 4, so I think you're ahead of me. I can't remember what I did last week.
Wait. So access to one door does not create access to others. So if you ask what happened at 11, I was like, what? Like, yeah, it doesn't work like that. I just remember that thing. Yeah, for sure.
Gotcha. Okay.
So let me wait. Does your audience know a hidden talent of yours?
Ooh, probably not. I'm glad you asked. Okay, so here it is. Because of my dad, I know how to change my own oil and rotate my own tires.
Do you do it though?
Not anymore, but I know how.
Better use of your time, right? Cost
I
value of
bought
time.
Yeah, I bought a car that you have to take the wheel off now to get to the oil, and I was like,
What?
"Okay, this is a little too much." So, I did it on my Mazda, I did it on my Lumina in college, and then my little Cavalier. So, definitely up until, like, maybe 5 or 6 years ago, but when you guys start taking off the
Wow. Oh,
wheel to get to it, like, I'm kinda
oh yeah, no,
done.
never. And I had a Cavalier, by the way.
No way!
Um, oh yeah, I surely did. It was a gray silver one. Took it from Florida to the Northeast, and the Northeast beat it up in the winter.
Oh,
It could,
yeah,
yeah.
mine was a standard, so that's another hidden talent. I can drive a standard vehicle.
Stick.
Yeah. Yeah,
Oh
it's a
yeah,
dying
yeah,
breed.
yeah. Automobile Megan. Y'all didn't know, but now we know.
See, it was hidden.
Well, so I'll say this too. Lastly, like that's probably one of the weirdest things I've heard of a car that you have to undo the tire to get to it. I would say the second one I've heard is one of my friends. He had an SUV and the car battery was under the driver passenger seat. That made no sense to me. I was just
Oh,
so flabbergasted. Yeah, I was like, "What? That's a car? I didn't know you could regulatedly do that." Like, whatever. But yeah, so
right.
I understand now that if I ever need an oil change and I am down and out, I'll hit Megan.
I'm your girl. Can I tell you a story about like that's a hidden talent, right? Because normally girls don't know that. But my dad was said, "You're not driving this car until you know how to change your
Bravo,
tire." And
daddy.
right, okay, cool. And then he got his standard vehicle, and I've had to learn to drive that. But we were shopping for my new car. I had a major accident in a 5-car pileup on I-45 about 7 years
Mhm.
ago. I was car number 4. I made it. I survived, but I needed a new car. So we go car shopping, and I'm looking at a bigger SUV. So we get into one of them at the Nissan dealerships, and my husband's in the back. I'm in the driver's seat, and the car salesman's passenger. And I put it in gear, and he was trying to tell me all the features, and I'm thinking, I don't. It's a car. We're going. So I start going, and he doesn't know why I'm asking this question, and I wasn't trying to be manipulative or catch him, but in conversation, because my mind is I changed the oil. How much oil is expensive? So I just asked him, what kind of oil does this car use? Because I'm thinking, is it like a synthetic? Is it not? And he said, oh, any kind. And I thought, like olive oil? Does that work? I mean, any
Any
kind? Any
time.
kind. If you don't know the answer, just say, I'm not sure. Let's get out the book. But I sat there and I didn't say a peep. But I know it's not any kind. Is it
No,
OW20, 5W30? Like, what is it?
no, like, how dare you thought that you were offensive to him for asking a salesman about the the blood of this car? What? Like, that's
Oh, any
insanity.
kind.
Yeah, that's insanity. He said any oil. Oh, let me get that in writing then.
Right? Any kind. All right. So anyway, fun fact.
Look, what are you pouring into your car? I don't think I would have let that go. I think I would have just
Oh,
continued
that
that
would have been
on.
great.
Yeah, I would have
Do
continued that.
tell.
Yeah. How often are you putting vegetable oil in your car? Yeah, absolutely.
Olive oil, avocado. I mean, we're going green.
Right. Wow. Yeah, I wonder where he is in life. Hopefully not advising on vehicles. Yeah.
I don't know, but yeah, my husband said, "Oh, you don't know what you just did."
Lost the sale. Yeah, you can just go ahead and bring us back to the dealership.
We're just parking. Thanks. Are you the guy that said it needs to have change oil, take the tire off? Does that come from you?
So okay, and I don't know if you're gonna call this like automobile segment, but I have one. So
Okay.
my wife and I were going to the dealership and we were just looking, and it would have been to trade in her SUV for another one, but a little bit bigger, but different brand, right? And I'm looking at the salesman like I'm thinking I think it's subconsciously we're connected because I'm looking at him like, yeah, don't make suggestions, just listen what I say and kind of go with that. So he looked at me and gave me an eye wink and a nod, like I understand. So instantly emotional connection, right? So I'm like, boom, he gets me. We're not gonna go way higher than I would think because he understands me. Nope, he doesn't understand anything. We get in the car, he's like, yeah, I think you would like a bigger version because it's got some of the stuff you were talking about. And I'm looking in the back like, That's not what we discussed at all. What are you doing? What? Yeah. So by the time we get back, I'm just over it because I'm like, this dude has added so many bells and whistles. I mean, I feel like she was turning into like a transformer. The car was becoming her. It was just like, yeah, I cannot do this interaction with you. But yeah, it was at the automobile. I thought I had a friend, and nope, he was willing to take me all the way to on the wallet, all the way.
I mean, I guess they try.
Yeah, no, he did. I mean, yeah, everything worked until yeah, I just kind of I think the shutdown may have given her the signal like, yeah, he's ready to go. Yeah, I was ready to go.
I have another one for
Number just
you.
kept in, I mean everything. He was like, yeah, I think you would like this other package. No, this is not what. No, I'm in Bizarro world. Yeah.
The next dealer we went to was a
hmm
Toyota dealer, and I was looking at the
Okay.
4Runner, right? Bigger, taller. It's on the frame
Yeah,
of a truck and safe.
absolutely.
And so there he's going over all these safety features. And we get after 15 minutes walk around the car, ready to test drive. I said, "Does it come in red?" And he said, "No." And Chris was like, "I'll see you in the car." That's a deal breaker. So he gets in the car. I wanted a red car. You don't sell red. I'm done. Who doesn't
You
sell
let
red?
it go for something that we'll make it whatever color. We'll paint it today. I'll be
Yeah,
outside painting
I
it.
get a
It's
Sharpie
whatever
out. What
color
do you
you need.
want?
Is there a type of red you'd like? Would you bring it in? Yeah, like he's crazy. Wow. Wow. Okay. I guess I don't understand car business.
I don't think we're meant to be car salesmen because
Yeah.
I went,
Right. Like I
what?
guess I guess people yell at me once I make the sale. Jared, this is olive. Where are we gonna find that? I thought the store, but whatever.
Oh
I'm the
man.
only one not selling the vehicles because I'm accommodating the colors. Yeah, that's interesting. Wow. So you
Oh.
see, he got back in the car. Your husband's hilarious.
Yeah, he's like, bye.
Done. Like before we start, yeah, before y'all start looking at models, you need to just say, "Where's your reds? Where are the reds?" And that's what's gonna start.
Lesson learned. Did not know they
Right.
sent Toyota isn't a red, or at least not that year.
Like it's offensive. That's funny. Wait, that's funny.
Well, Jared, thanks so much for the warm laughter, the stories. It's been a
Absolutely.
pleasure. And for those of you
Absolutely.
listening, check out ACMP. There are great people in that organization. And if you're not sure where to start, join us at one of our joint happy hours or joint meetings. NSA Houston had a panel event with the presidents, and it was able to really help see what opportunities can we help connect you with. If you have any questions, follow Jared Morgan on social media. I'm sure you're up to great things and they can follow and see what's going on. And if you have any questions, reach out. If you're a speaker, trainer, coach, comedian, pastor, all of them, you belong at NSA also. So check us out and follow us online. We're doing a lot of new webinars this year to really bring value either from intellectual property lawyers to financial planning. How do you plan as a small business owner for your retirement and make smart business moves, to so much more. So let us know what you need. And Jared, any last comments as we close out for today?
No, just that you so slyly handled change right there with the cat. So bravo to you.
Yeah, usually people like this tail just starts coming.
Oh no, it definitely did. I definitely thought maybe you were playing a flute in front of like one of those basins or something.
Oh.
It was like it came up like a snake. But then I noticed it was a cat, but then you slightly nudged
Mhm.
it down. And again, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, bravo.
thank you. Thank you.
Simultaneously, yeah, for sure. You're welcome. No, thanks for having me. I love what all of our organizations do. And yeah, I definitely think there's something for you in all that we do, even if it's a career and pivot. We've experienced that. I know Megan has as well within her organization. People coming into the industry new, don't be intimidated. A lot of people are doing it all the time, and we'd like for you to come and find out more.
Excellent. Well, thanks again, Jared.
Mhm.
And we'll see you
Thank
next
you.
time on the next NSA Houston podcast as we interview more presidents to be able to bring connections to you and really unite us all over Houston. Thanks again.
Absolutely. Thank you, man.